What if I told you English almost wasn't the main language of the United States? Yes, you heard that right. With millions of German immigrants shaping the country, there was a moment in history when Germans seemed destined to dominate. So why do we speak English today and not German? When you think of the United States, English feels obvious. It's the language of Hollywood, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and every American president in history. But dig deeper, and you'll find a surprising twist. German immigrants were once the largest ethnic group in the United States. They founded entire towns, published hundreds of newspapers, and for decades kept their culture and language alive. So why didn't German take over? Why didn't America become the world's largest German-speaking nation? The answer is a fascinating mix of history, politics, war, and identity. And by the end of this video, you might see American history in a completely new way. Part 1. The German Wave. Let's rewind to the 18th and 19th centuries. From Pennsylvania to the Midwest, millions of Germans crossed the Atlantic, escaping poverty, political turmoil, or simply seeking new opportunities. By the mid-1800s, German was so common in the US that schools taught in it, churches preached in it, and newspapers printed daily news entirely in German. Cities like Milwaukee, Cincinnati, and St. Louis were filled with German culture, so much so that Milwaukee was nicknamed the German Athens. In fact, by 1900, nearly 1 in 10 Americans was of German descent. That's an incredible number. So, it's natural to wonder, why didn't their language become the national standard? Part 2. The Myth of the One Vote. You may have heard a story that Congress once voted on making German the official language of the US, and it lost by just 1 vote. It's a great story, but it's not exactly true. Here's what really happened. In 1794, German immigrants in Virginia petitioned Congress to print federal laws in both English and German. The vote to approve this failed, but it wasn't about making German the official language, just about printing translations. Still, the myth spread because it felt so believable. After all, with so many Germans, wasn't it possible they could have changed the nation's linguistic destiny? Part 3. Why English dominated. So if the Germans were so numerous, why did English win out? There are several key reasons. 1. The Founding Fathers and British colonization. The US was born out of 13 British colonies. Its constitution, laws, courts, and schools were all rooted in English traditions. From the very start, English was the language of power, government, and national identity. 2. Diversity of immigrants. It wasn't just Germans arriving. Irish, Italians, Poles, Scandinavians, and many others flooded in. And what was the one language they all had in common? English. For Germans to insist on their own language would have isolated them, while adopting English meant blending into a wider immigrant society. 3. Commerce and opportunity. English quickly became the language of business. If you wanted to succeed, trade, or climb socially, English was essential. Parents knew this, and many encouraged their children to speak English at home, sometimes reluctantly, but always with an eye on the future. 4. National unity. As America expanded westward, leaders feared linguistic divisions could fracture the young nation. Promoting English as the unifying language seemed not just practical, but necessary. Part 4. The Fall of German. Even so, German held strong for decades. But then came 2 world wars and everything changed. During World War I, anti-German sentiment exploded in the United States. Anything associated with Germany became suspect. Schools banned German classes. German language newspapers shut down. Towns renamed themselves to sound less German. Even food was renamed. Sauerkraut became Liberty cabbage. By World War II, the pattern repeated. German Americans were pressured to fully assimilate. Speaking German in public became rare, even shameful. Entire generations stopped teaching it to their children. In just a few decades, a vibrant bilingual culture collapsed under the weight of war and nationalism. English had won decisively. Part 5. What if German had won? But let's play the what-if game. Imagine an alternate United States where German became the dominant language. Would Hollywood movies be in German? Would Wall Street bankers shout kaufen and verkaufen instead of buy and sell? Would schoolchildren recite the Pledge of Allegiance in German every morning? It sounds funny, but the implications would be massive. US culture might feel closer to Europe. English itself could have faded into a minority language. Even global politics might be different, because today English isn't just America's language, it's the language of international diplomacy, technology, and the internet. Had German triumphed, the entire global order of communication could look radically different. Part 6. Why it matters. So, why does this story matter? Because it reminds us that history is not inevitable. The dominance of English wasn't guaranteed. It was shaped by immigration patterns, political choices, and the tragedies of global war. And it shows how fragile culture can be, a language spoken by millions of Americans, wiped away in just 2 generations because of fear and politics. Conclusion. So, why didn't German become America's main language? Because English had the head start of empire, the glue of national unity, and the luck or misfortune of history's wars on its side. German might have thrived, but it was English that defined the American identity. And yet, if you look closely, German culture is still everywhere, from food and beer to traditions and words we use every day. America didn't lose German entirely, it simply absorbed it into the melting pot. Call to action. Now it's your turn. Do you think America would be a very different place if German had become the national language? Or do you believe English dominance was inevitable from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I can't wait to read your theories. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next What If story. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.